everyone. Maz is okay speaking to us. It's been a while now, so I just want to say good evening to all of you. How are we doing? And welcome once more to Ginger Media TV. And I am Maz is okay. I am going to be your host this evening, being the 1st of December 2021. Now, exactly 24 days or 23 days, as some people may wish to say, before Christmas. Now, I wish and I pray that we all keep safe before Christmas and after Christmas as well. Now, having said that, it will be my pleasure to welcome you to an evening conversation this evening. And this evening, I'm going to be looking at two things. One is the breaking news that we have now that the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, that is scheduled to have an emergency court hearing tomorrow, being Thursday, the 2nd of December 2021. And the feelers that we have is that if all things go right, that he may be released on bail based on the information from, or rather, based on the appeal by eminent Igbo leaders led by Chief Mbazurike Amechi. The boy is good, a Zikist, who led couple of Igbo leaders and some religious leaders 2 weeks ago to see the president. And you will recall that when they met the president in Abuja, the president actually said to them that the demand that they are making of him is a very heavy one, but nonetheless, he would endeavor to consider that. Now, be that as it may, it appears that there is a high level, when we say high level negotiations on. If you recall, last time he was in court about 3 weeks ago, his lawyers were locked out because the lead counsel in the person of Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor was outside trying to sort out the because the court did not allow Bruce Finn, the American lawyer, to come in. So he was outside trying to sort it out for no just reason. Basically, the judge adjourned the case till January 2022. However, things within certain quarters and within the Southeast has not been same since then. And the little piece that obviously people thought we had somewhat began to elude us, and we also began to see some other form of agitations. But be that as it may, the good thing here are basically two things happened today, or within yesterday and today. One is this. Now, let me ask, because as many of you will see, this is as we publish that on Ginger Media TV, that this case is coming up tomorrow. Now, and you can see the news here, as it's been said here. The detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, who was extraordinary rendition from Kenya back to Nigeria, is scheduled for an emergency hearing tomorrow. That is Thursday. That may, again, may, from the feelers we are hearing, that may lead to his release on bail in the media news authoritatively. Now, for the media news to use that word preposition there, authoritatively report, means that there are some back channel information, I believe, that is regarding this. Then the Federal High Court Abuja has scheduled Nnamdi Kanu's, the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, for an emergency hearing tomorrow, and that tomorrow is Thursday. So when we look at this, we'll now see when the news broke and the media reached out to the legal counsel who confirmed there is a hearing tomorrow. I mean, that's authoritatively, we confirmed that from the lead from the counsel to the to the indigenous people of Biafra. Now, according to one of the news sources, Nnamdi Kanu is scheduled for tomorrow. Then, if you recall again that Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday, November the 19th, promised to consider the unconditional release of the IPOB leader as sought by elders from the southeast. And again, like I said, if you recall once more, he made that promise while he received what they tagged eminent Igbo leaders, highly respected Igbo greats. They used that word specifically, the Igbo greats, led by First Republican parliamentarian and Minister of Aviation, Mbazurika Amechi. That was in the State House in Abuja. Now, these are what we know about this. I do not know what you think about this, breaking news as it is now, that this is what we have seen so far, and this is what is happening. So tomorrow, I will say, stay clued on here on Ginger Media TV, because we will do our best. We will do our best. We will do our best to feed you and to show you live feed from the court tomorrow. So we will definitely do our best to bring you the live feed, and we'll definitely update us. And also from the United Kingdom, there is this guy called Adeyinka grandson. I believe there was this news that came out yesterday that Adeyinka grandson has been jailed in the United Kingdom. Recall, he was one of those that said that Igbos are the problem of Lagos, and urged people to kill Igbo in Lagos. And for some reason, and that case found itself, that case was eventually many people saw when he was arrested. There was a video online trending, I think, believe was also published by the Media TV. So he was arrested. Now, again, because he's been arrested and he was charged to court, and yesterday he was found guilty. One thing and one takeaway here is that we must do everything possible to move away from hate speech, and calling for people to be killed. These are things that should be avoided by everyone, because at the end of the day, we should not be caught in the act of those things you criticize others of doing, and eventually you engage in them. In the case of Adeyinka grandson, you have seen it, that at the end of the day, he is in the United Kingdom, and the law, he was taken to court, and the law eventually found him guilty. That is it. That is it. The law found him guilty. So, people, you have to stay tuned tomorrow. Let's see how this is going to play out. And probably we will as well try to see if we can get the lawyers, maybe after the court or before the court, if they can come here on the media platform to see if they can speak to us. We need to understand what is going to happen, or what is happening. It is now too late, because it's a breaking news. If not, we would have try to see if we can bring any of them, the legal counsels here, to speak to us. But be that as it may, let us see if we can speak to them tomorrow. Now, that is on that one. On the other hand, we have also the Southeastern Governors Forum in a meeting they held yesterday. They held a meeting in Owerri. They held a virtual meeting. That meeting was not held in Owerri. That's a slip of tongue. In the meeting that they held yesterday, they resolved that the killing of, or rather they condemned the killing of 2 police officers that were beheaded. And for a couple of days, that video really haunted me. And I condemn that video. I condemn that act that was barbaric, that was unnecessary, that was provocative. I do not know a better word to describe it, because this is, I could not share that video with anybody. For those of you who have watched the video to see the video in question there, it is something that is indeed condemnable. Now, the governors met yesterday virtually, which again, thanks to the technologies these days, they can now meet at any time and resolve issues quickly. So the Southeastern Governors Forum condemns the beheading of 2 policemen, resolves to fight Mpurummiri. That is, for many of you who do not understand what Mpurummiri is meth. These new trend of drug that it now ravages Nigeria and especially the southeast. Now, and they also urged the people to please come out on Mondays and go about their businesses. Now, the meeting resolved as follows. The governors of the Southeast leader held an emergency virtual meeting yesterday, the 30th of November, 2021, on a wide range of issues concerning their region. The Media News reports. Now, in a communique made available to the Media News, signed by the Southeastern Governors Forum chairman, the governor of Ebonyi State, Engineer Dave Umahi, the meeting resolves as follows. Now, 1, they said that they condemn in strong terms the video clip and write-up that they saw in social media and print. Exactly, I saw that. I think that was this day front page. That's unbelievable. Where which they saw in the media, where policemen were said to have been killed and their head cut off. It's not about we are said to have been killed. Policemen were killed and their head were cut off in the video. These things were being videoed. It's like what you see ISIS do or Boko Haram do, and everyone get outraged, and suddenly these things comes in your backyard, that your fellow human being, irrespective of his region, irrespective of his religion, will be hacked in that manner, and his head severed, and they left with the heads. Eventually, another video emerged where people saw what they were then doing with the heads. This is despicable. No human being deserves to die in that manner. Now, and according to the Southeastern governors, they say, we have also resolved among ourselves to work with the security agencies to determine the authenticity of this video report, and if found to be true, to apprehend the perpetrators by all possible means to face the law. We are also aware of similar video in the past, which then subjected to forensic review, were found out to happen outside Nigeria. We assure Nigerians, especially the police community, that we will not rest until we have done justice to this matter. Well, again, we will keep quiet. So until you finished your report or the security agencies done their report, we will see. Now the communique continues. It says, we resolve to be, we resolve to be very committed in our fight against hard drug in our region, especially the new one called methamphetamine, locally known as in the southeast as Mbulumulu. We have decided that all the shops and locations where any hard drug is sold will be forfeited to the government, and all those promoting the trade or indulging in hard drugs shall seriously, isolated to face the law. Rehabilitation of those misled into hard drug is also ongoing. Well, we hope you people will take this serious. We also urge community leaders to give secret phone calls through special numbers offered by the governors on security and hard drug. Now, here is where I come in. I think the Southeast needs to get to work with this issue of hard drug. They must really, really take this serious and nip it in the bud. Now, I see those who consume mkpuru as victims. Those who consume meth, they are victims. You must be ready and willing to go after the real man, the real bus. Those are people who may be moving with convoy, people who really are known to to some communities where these things are being done. So whatever it is, I believe the government of the Southeast must go hard on this. The item number 4 on the release says, we want all criminals who have styled themselves as IPOB ESN to kill our people to immediately stop. Well, you don't beg criminals to stop. You know what to do. We are aware that the insecurity and killings in the Southeast have gone beyond IPOB ESN, as many criminals find it easy to hide such a name to commit crimes. We are determined to do everything to protect lives and properties of our people. Our youth are advised to leverage on the various empowerment agricultural programs by the governors to better their lives. I think the governors on this one, sorry, I don't think enough is being done. The reason why people, while I do not in any way, shape, or form support any form of crime, I do not. But the reason why these crimes keep happening is the inability of these governors, inability of the leaders to do the right thing. You know, there is no way a government can create jobs for the populace. But if enabling environment is created, individuals, especially and enterprising people, would find it and they will find a way to create job. They must and they will find a way to create jobs. So that is what the government ought to do. And we, myself here, Mazes, okay, is urging the governors to please, please, please do more. Whatever you're doing, please double down on it and do more. And do more. The 5th item there says, on the issue of agitation by the youth, we are also reviewing the work of Ohaneze Igbo committee on this matter and will soon call a larger stakeholder meeting to address such. All issues relating to the agitation and its fallout are better settled politically on a negotiating table, and we thank the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, for his consideration of a political solution to this problem. Now he has demonstrated that he is a good father who listens to his children. Okay, on this one, the last part, I'm not going to add anything. I don't want, I'm not going to say anything to that. But I think if you look at the court hearing, that's the angle I'm coming from. Let me not get into frivolities. The angle I'm coming from here is if you look at the court hearing that is going to happen tomorrow, you juxtapose it with the 5th section of this, especially the 2nd paragraph, you will understand the reason there is a permutation that Nnamdi Kanu could be granted a political solution tomorrow. Because again, you see, highlighted here, it says, all issues relating to the agitation and its fallout are better settled politically and on a negotiation table. And we thank the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, for his consideration. Now, that is it. So there must be some extractions that has happened. His consideration on a political solution to this problem. Yes, granted, there is a problem, but according to the governors, it appears there is this consideration. Recall that on Monday, out of the blues, we heard that former Governor Ojus Okalo went to see Nnamdi Kanu. And the question was that many people find a little bit intriguing, because to see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, according to Justice Binta Nyako, it will go through the lawyers if you want to see him, and only on the agreement of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should they, through the lawyers, invite somebody to come. Recall again that before the Anambra State election, Senator Ifeanyi Uba attempted to see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He was denied. Now, this guy is also a senator. He's also from, he's also Igbo. I don't know if you guys are seeing something that is playing out. So if you mix all these things together, if you jam them very well, if you potter them very well, you begin and may begin to see that tomorrow could be that I don't know. I'm not trying to insinuate that Ojus Okalu went to negotiate, but there was a statement Ojus Okalu made. For many of you who saw when that was posted on the Media community section, Ojus Okalu made a statement, and he said that he had a fruitful conversation with Kanu, and that he should. They discussed, and he encouraged him to stop some of the comments that he makes that would put his people in danger. Now, again, just opposite to the visit of to the court hearing tomorrow, and if you put that again together with the statement of southeastern governors, it could be. Now, do not go out here saying that Mazi is okay, or Ginger Media said that this is going to happen. What we know 100%, unless, Nigeria, or let's say 99.9, let's say 99.9, let's not say 100%, 99.9, what we know, bearing any last minute, disruption, because Nigeria, things work hellwire, is that he's going to be in Nigeria. At least we personally here on Ginger Media TV confirmed from the legal counsel, yes, that tomorrow is going to be the day that he's going to have his day in court again. But the outcome, or if the president, through the Attorney General of the Federation, is going to wade in, as promised the great Igbo leaders, that he's going to do something, nobody actually knows. So we hope that by tomorrow, every one of us will, once you come back to this platform tomorrow, we will find a way. Definitely, as usual, we will bring you, live feed from the court. Obviously, with our partners, we will do that, and we will, if need be, bring those lawyers on the platform as we have consistently done. I would personally, if time permits and if they are chanced, bring them here to do some explanation. Now, let me now say something. Depending on how it goes tomorrow, we might have a special program for that. But again, I don't want to say more than that, depending on how it goes tomorrow. So, people, having said that, now let me quickly conclude with the last part of this program. This program, I do not want it to be for so long, is about the EndSars. As you all know, the EndSars white paper is out. And if you go through what they've said in the white paper, you can basically conclude, and that's what we have concluded as well, that we have a heartless bunch. We have a heartless bunch as governors, basically. We have a people who are really, really heartless in how they deal, and when the things that concern ordinary Nigerians, the things that concern the downtrodden, the things that concern the angry Nigerians, basically, everything that concerns them. how these things are being handled, how, from denial, we did not invite the army, to the point of saying nobody died in Lekki. Eventually, oh, somebody died in Lekki. Over 90%, over 90 dead bodies were sent to the morgue suddenly from all these deniers. What then the government is now saying is that the people should join them on a set date to go for a walk. And when the white paper came out, and you hear the governor blowing the grammars and all the rest and say people should join them and go for a walk, and you thought to yourself, in which world are these people living? How can, when there is no justice and you're talking about coming out to join you for a walk, how? That is the simple question. How do you want people to come out, join you for a walk where people do consider that there is no justice? Now, let me quickly get an interview granted by Dele Farotimi this morning on Arise, I think on a This Day TV, and with another lawyer that represented some of the victims. Now, I want you to pay attention here, because this conversation this morning, I found it very, very interesting. Let's watch.
Now, Lagos State Attorney General Moyeshore Onigbajo there, and for further interrogation of the observations and the recommendations of this white paper, we are now being joined by a lawyer for the victims of the tragic shooting at the Lekki toll gate, Adeyinka Olumide Fushika, a senior advocate of Nigeria, and another lawyer and civil rights campaigner, Dele Farotimi. I want to say welcome, gentlemen, to Newsday.
Thank you.
Mr. Onigbajo you heard him speak this morning on our flagship program, The Morning Show, about the white paper. Let's start with you, Mr. Fushika. What are your reactions to some of the statements being made, and how he has debunked several things and the recommendations that are being made by the judicial panel?
Well, to start with, the name is, the correct pronunciation is Fusika.
Fusika, okay.
Fusika.
Okay, Fusika.
Yes, thank you
very much for that.
Let me start by saying that early this morning, and if you permit me, I got a message from one of the bravest human beings that I've met, just over 20 years old, who took on the responsibility of testifying on behalf of his generation at the tribunal, Sarah Ibrahim. If you permit me, it's a short message, I'll just read it out. And it says, "Hi sir, I've been down and I've been in thoughts and I've been extremely sad. I cannot fathom why it feels like the more we try, the more they try to make us look inconsequential. What more is left to be done? Why do they make it all seem this way? It's really disturbing that they are still trying to throw this away. I cannot take it. I can't handle it. I put off my phone since yesterday because I don't know what to say. Everyone is calling, but I don't know what to say. What should I say to Victor Sunday's mom? I spoke to just on Saturday. What should I say to Mrs. Abidin? I visited just on Friday. Or what can I say to Nathaniel and Legend and Samuel? What more can I say to people I told to trust the process of justice?" And I'll say how I responded to her, reminding her that when I accepted the responsibility to assist to present their own side of the story at the panel, I made it very clear to her and to the group that our responsibility is to present the evidence on their side, have it on record for posterity's sake.
Now, he's talking about one of the clients that he represented, a lady, And the lady obviously knew people who disappeared from that. I have on this platform, when the EndSars happened, interviewed people who agreed to come on this platform the next day, but the moment they got threatened, they pulled out. However, there is this young lady, Amaka by name, been on this platform a couple of times. In the last time on the EndSars Remembrance Day, she came here and she said to the hearing of the world that her friend, whom they both were together at the night of the shooting, they spoke before she left. Until today, 1 year later, her telephone is no longer connecting. She hasn't seen her since then. Now, and someone thinks there is an embassy in Lekki Tollgate, maybe where you can, as they were shooting, you go into this embassy, you are being transported to America where your Nigerian number no longer works. Maybe. But what it means in a very simple term is that this lady has been disappeared by those who ought to protect her and protect her future. The lady in question is in her late 20s. Today, her friend, the girl in question, the Amaka in question, still 1 year later, she still has nightmare. Remembering that someone who spent about 6 days with her at the Lekki toll, but on that day the shooting happened, she hasn't since then heard about the individual in question. You ask yourself, how soulless can a government be continuously over the years to keep dealing with the people they swore to protect in this manner? This is not only about this government. It has been about governments and governments in Nigeria. Recall Delegiwa just for speaking truth. Recall Ken Saro-Wiwa. Recall the invasion of Odi. Recall the invasion of Zakibian. Recall the invasion of Izombe. Recall the Aba massacre. So it has been government after government, the reoccurring decimal. And the question becomes, at what point will the people begin to see succor? At what point will the people begin to have peace? At what point will this ill treatment of a people you have sworn under oath to protect, at what point shall this maltreatment stop? Still continue and have a listen.
Not because we expect anything of the panel or of the governor, but let's have it on record. You never can say tomorrow someone else may come in and see things in a different light. To tell you the truth, I was surprised that the panel came up, was bold enough, let me put it that way, to come up with the kind of report it came with. And I know that on the government side, they were equally surprised because that was not what the panel was meant to do. You see, when the basic findings of the panel, and I don't know why anybody is surprised at the way the government is going about it, because saying otherwise would be admitting to, the things that the panel found. The panel said on that night, both the army and the police were there, and they shot and they killed. The governor was the one, contrary to his story, the governor was the one that invited the army to the place. It's all in the bundle of reports.
Again, recall that ab initio, the moment it became clear that the governor was the one who invited the army, he came out then, he denied it. They started with denying. And eventually, the lying machine of the nation joined. The lying machine joined. And this became a pattern of denying something that happened to a people that you owe a duty of care to protect. That is the most heartbreaking point there. This is not citizen against citizen, that you now have the right to protect. No. those that ought to protect are those then taken.
The panel said, not only did you commit these atrocities, you then went on a deliberate attempt, criminal attempt, to bury the evidence. Bodies were taken away. You brought vehicles to, wash blood away. And if you remember, and if you want it, I can send it to you. There was a time the governor gave it, whether it's a press conference or whether, and say, I went there was no blood. I didn't see blood at the scene.
Exactly.
Of course, we presented evidence, overwhelming evidence, to show the blood flow in the place. And the panel said, it is true that you brought vehicles to this place. You did not only take away bodies, you tried to, your company, LCC, having issued a statement confirming what happened, that army shot and so on and so forth. The statement is here, I can send it to you. Came before us to say the contrary. Came before us with manipulated video recordings. That was what the panel has said. Now, is Sarah Ibrahim and his group expecting the governor and the government of Lagos State to accept that they engage in that criminal activity of trying to insane. Cover? They cannot accept it. So let's just leave it at that. It's for posterity's sake.
Just for the sake of time.
Yes.
We're all enthralled by what you're saying, but I want to hear from Mr. Farotimi.
Anyway, before Farotimi says something, let me address some of the comments I can see from the comment section. First of all, Akeme Ikechuku, thank you very much. Grüße Schau. To be star in Berlin, we are in here in Ground Zero. So, and Odeyemi Timothy is asking a question. He says, who did the beheading? Listen, there are crimes that I do not care who committed it. What we need is justice. At this point, because, like I said, no one deserves to die. So let's not get into the argument of who and why and who did that. Again, and Hakim Abonalo says, so you guys are happy for the conviction of grandson. Again, I do not know what you want to insinuate by that. I obviously said that there was the news day before yesterday that he was convicted in the UK, and that is a piece of news. So whatever you want to make out of it is up to you to make, but, and I did admonish us as a people, and hence, many of us, that's why you can see when people spew hate, and, sometimes they don't know the consequences. And I have said on this platform, and many people who come on here to say, oh, you're being politically correct. Well, sadly, I can't help you. The thing is, there are ways you can still say something and still be civil. I believe in the principle of being civil to you because no one knows tomorrow. It doesn't remove the fact that truth at all times must be said. But why I personally would never engage in a case of, saying certain things or trying to knock people to a point of the point where one could be charged to court for either what they call the cyber crime in Nigerian context, or charged for terrorism, or even in some cases that, as we have seen, charged for the act of or the intention to commit genocide against an ethnic nationality. Now, and that's why when we say, it's here sometimes when many of us just come online, and I don't blame you. Many of you, your faces are not known. No one knows you in the society. So it's easy to hide under the keyboard and spew some things. But when it becomes obvious, especially, please be careful, especially when you live in a country that has law and orders, that one person has not been taken to court does not mean that which you are saying, knowing that it has the capacity to harm, maybe even to a larger extent, that doesn't mean that is true. or that is correct, that you should do it that way. But again, it's, it's a free world. What we know is that there are consequences for action. There are consequences for decisions made. So whoever wants to make decisions, and again, you live by that at the end of the day. No one, I do not believe, and I have never read that anyone mocking or supporting. But again, if it is a piece of news, that piece of news must, as always on this platform, will be reported. Then the other ones is you can make of it whatever you want. Now let's get to Dele here, because he made a very, very salient point. And listen very, very attentively and listen very carefully.
Well, the governor has invited you and a host of others who were quite active in the speaking out against what has happened for a peace walk. Can you give us your reactions when you first heard of the request and what you think about it now?
I just figured Governor Sanwo-Olu is about to give Ali Baba, Basket Mouth, Akororo and Co. a run for their money because he's obviously a comedian. Why he will believe that I'll jettison my grandmother's admonition contained in Psalm 1, verses 1 and 2, I wonder. I am not in the habit of walking around with murderers. And I do not believe for a second that the governor himself was asking a serious question when he requested the walk. I am of the candid opinion, when we were younger, it used to be that you call someone out because you want them to respond or react. When I was younger, I was prone to reactions, but I'm a little older now. A man has called me, he said, come and take a peace walk. So I begin to examine the content of his speech. And the more I looked at the speech, the more I found a dichotomy, if you will, a schizophrenia. In one breath, the governor is talking about the healing qualities of the truth. He was talking about how you cannot build a smart city on lies. And yet, the man is manufacturing lies at an alarming rate. The unfortunate thing about lies is that they lack longevity. He wants normalcy, but is not prepared to consider the important place of justice in seeking peace. I'll remind you that there are close to 300, we can't even say how many, still in Kirikiri, arrested in the immediate aftermath of the EndSars protests, indiscriminately across the length and breadth of Lagos. Over 300. They are still in Kirikiri. There is one particular one, Oyebola or something like that. He's had 2 lawyers. He's had 2 appearances before judges of the Lagos State High Court who refused to release him because they were awaiting the DPP's advice. The DPP's advice came out over a year after this boy has been languishing in Kirikiri. I'm on record. It came out and said that the best they could do was charge this boy with an infraction of the curfew order, which would have had him spend a month in Kirikiri. It took a magistrate to give that boy bail, maybe about a week or 2 ago. There are orders still there, and he wants to go walk his. Walk for what exactly? So we should...
Now, what? Now, imagine in a country where someone has been behind bar. Now, again, my worldview is, I personally don't want to know where this boy in question or this man in question is from. I care less if it's Hausa, if it's Fulani, if it's Nupe, if it's Yoruba, if it's Ibibio, if it's Ijaw, if it's Yakat, if it's whatever. One thing that should bother all of us is that we are talking about a human being unjustly since over 1 year put behind bars. Now, the question is that they are now thinking the only way they can charge him is to charge him for violating because there is nothing to charge him on. Charge him on violating the curfew. You ask yourself. So, okay, granted without conceding. Let's for argument's sake, granted, he violated the curfew, but we are not considering that he violated the curfew. So the only thing you can do is to keep him behind bars. And Barrister Dele is here telling us that there are still hundreds of them in prison. Hundreds. Injustice breeds injustice. Hundreds of them, human beings, adults, born by mothers. These are ones that are lucky to still be alive. And they are still receiving this injustice. And every one of us must and should be concerned, because these are human beings. And yet, the governor is not interested in maybe granting amnesty. Why would I say amnesty? Granting someone amnesty means he has done something. But again, for argument's sake, maybe granting them amnesty, or I don't know, or finding a way to say, okay, pardon, or and pay compensation for, I don't know. But you haven't done that, and you say, oh, you want peace, you want to develop, people should come so that you do peace march. Man, Nigeria could
join him
like this all
in his fig leaf operation. But as my learned senior has said, we never went before the tribunal in search of the truth. We already knew the truth. It was the government that required a PR exercise and a time-buying device, and then set up the panel. It set up the panel believing that it could manipulate or somehow affect events before that panel. Remember, there were 8 men and women sat on that panel. A retired DIG was on that panel. I believe a director in the state civil service was on that panel. It came out with a majority report. There isn't a minority report, it's unanimous.
So how important is the leaked reports from this particular panel? And what's the, you've gone through both, what's the difference between, what are the differences between, is there a variation between the leaked?
Anyway, for me, people, thank you once more for joining me. Please do me a favor. Can you kindly like this? Just click on the like button. If you're in the comment section, you can just come out of the comment section. Like, just click on the like button on Facebook. On Facebook, you make it turn blue. On YouTube, the same thing. Just click on the like button. Join us here tomorrow morning. We are going to give you live update and live feed from the court in Abuja, as Nnamdi Kanu goes to court tomorrow in an emergency court sitting. And as I said at the beginning, it is being speculated. Now, the second part here with this caveat is still on the realm of speculation, having reviewed all the things that's happened in the last 3 weeks till now. Speculation is he could, conditionality, whatever it's called. When he could be granted bail. Again, couple of hours left. It's now 13 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock night here. He could be granted bail, but we do not know. Please endeavor to join us here tomorrow. We will be bringing you that live from here at Njinji Media TV. Thank you once more, everyone, for joining us. Again, let's hope that tomorrow becomes a day that might bring closure, and a day that, again, that will help in restoring peace across the nation. One thing the government must do, and one thing many people are advocating that the government should do, is a case where those who were agitating and those who have been under their custody granted bail, as in the case of Nnamdi Kanu and Iboho, whom is now in Benin, in Benin Republic. You know, again, I believe if the words of the legal people are anything to go by, the argument is that the Federal Republic of Nigeria has what it takes to make that go away. On that note, I will say, maybe, I don't know, maybe as the Igbo leaders have gone and met the president, I don't know if the Yoruba leaders have to do the same. I don't know, but I leave that for the those who know better than I do to make that decision. People, thank you once more for joining me. I am still Mazi. It's okay. I do not want to make this stream to be for too long. Hence, now saying good night to you wherever you are watching me. It's night from here, exactly 15 minutes past the hour of 10 at night here. Then I'll say good night to you, good morning to you for those of you who are watching from Southeast Asia. For those of you who are across the North America, I will say good afternoon to you. And again, Kachifono, Kemesia, good night. Bye from here.